what is Splitgate? It is a free multiplayer game developed by 1047 Games. It's a FPS.
Mm-hmm.
It was released as early access on May 24th, 2019 for Linux and Windows on Steam, and beta access for PC and consoles as of last month. Okay. So I know that back I think 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, we went to PAX
2018 or 2019, yeah.
And we tried this game, and it was like, that was way, I don't even know if that was alpha. That was just like
Yeah, it was pre-alpha.
That game was in infancy, you know? And all I can remember from this game was it reminded me of like Halo with Portal combined with it. Right? You actually got to play the beta, right?
Yeah.
So, Kelv, your thoughts on the beta? The floor is yours. Tell me what you think.
So, yeah, Splitgate, like you said, we tried it back in 2018, 2019 at PAX, and instantly, as soon as you play the game, you think of Halo and Portal, right? Very resemblance to Halo for the most part. And then the Portal aspect to it is you're able to make these different, portals, these different pathways for yourself to kind of maneuver around the maps. And that's basically the gist of it. So I got to play it, and I played maybe an hour and a half or so, 2 hours close to that. And I have to say, it's pretty fun, man. It's
fun.
I remember it just like how it was back in PAX, right? A little bit more polished, right? But for the most part, you have like your movement, your mechanics are smooth. Overall, point and shooter. It's an arena-based FPS game. So again, if you think of Halo, you know exactly what this game is. It's just fun. It doesn't really take itself serious, and it has a lot of resemblance to what makes Halo great, right? It doesn't have like that heavy recoil or anything like that, like how Call of Duty does, for example. You're just kind of picking up different guns, and you just kind of have fun, right? So I played 3 maps in the beta, and there's one that's called Club, Silo, Helix, and I forget the other name of the other one. I did shotgun shoddy team deathmatch, and another one that was just regular like 50 kill team deathmatch.
Yeah,
fun. Like I had a great time playing. It does take some time to understand like the warping mechanic in the game, right? When you're using your portals here and there, that would probably be the most the heavier part of the learning curve. Besides that, everything else is like every other game that you play, every other FPS game that you play, right? It just feels easy to maneuver around. Like it has a really easy learning curve when it comes to the aesthetics of it, like the shooting style of it, and that was fun. Like I'm running around shooting people, and I'm actually doing pretty good. Like I'm actually winning most of the games, and I'm doing a pretty good kill death ratio. So I'm having a good time.
Is it something? Can you describe it or compare it to any type of shooter that it feels like, or it's kind of its own thing?
It's
as far as like the mechanics go.
It's Halo. Literally Halo.
It feels more like Halo.
It feels like Halo. The jumping mechanics, you have like these hover boots or hover like jetpacks or whatever. So you kind of feel like you're jumping for a long time in the air, kind of similar to Halo back in the day, right? Halo 2, if you want to think of it that way. You have similar guns. You have a battle rifle, which is similar to like the BR-55 or something. That's whatever Halo has. You have a carbine pistol. You have a carbine, a pistol, a railgun, a sniper, rocket launcher. There's a plasma gun in the game, a shotgun, and they all really feel resemblance of Halo. I think the only thing that differentiates it between Halo and this game is the Portal aspect to it, and I think that's what makes it its own thing. And it does add another layer to the gameplay, right? Because in order for you to succeed in this game, you have to use those portals to your advantage. So let's
talk about that. Let's talk about the portals, right?
Sure.
As far as, is it a part of your kit? Like, is it a sidearm that you use, or is it like attached to your wrist where you like shoot it out? Like how does it work?
It just shoots out from, I don't know. He like points out and it shoots out from somewhere from his wrist, right? So when you shoot them, you either shoot a purple one or an orange one. And now the only thing that I'm trying to understand, again, I only play like 2 hours or so, is how they work alongside each other. So I think one of them is able to start a portal in front of you. The other one is kind of to help you I guess, move over to the other side of the portal, like something like that, along those lines.
So there's an in and out. There's an in and out, right? So it's a
Right.
first shot and in. The other one's is the outside of it, basically.
Right. But the thing that makes this really great is that you use these to your advantage throughout the game, throughout the match. So you can be in your base area, right? And then if you shoot your portal to closer to the enemy's base, you can legit just kind of move right behind an enemy in like 2 seconds.
So you're never really safe.
Not really.
You're never really safe
if you know how to use it.
There could be a portal.
Right, if you know how to use it, I think you'll be clean, you'll be great. But there's times where if you're in a pinch and there's too many people near you, or you're getting shot, you're almost dead, you can literally just get out of a tight situation in like a second. So you
could use it offensively and defensively.
100%. Now, again, there's a learning curve to it. I kind of got the gist of it as I was playing, but what I did notice is that not many people were using it, which is kind of weird, right? They were kind of playing this game more of like Halo. And they were kind of just shooting, running around, meleeing people, but they weren't really using a lot of what makes this game different, which is a portal aspect to it. So, but I think it's just for people to get used to it, because it is kind of I don't want to make it seem like it's a hard mechanic, but it is something to get used to, right? Cause
it's something to think about, right? It's an extra layer
and you have to use it
like
strategically,
Yeah, it's like Fortnite in a sense where it's not just about shooting people, right? You have to build. You use that as defensively or offensively.
100%.
So that's always nice that it's not just like a boring shooter where it's just like, all right, just see the person and kill him.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it, though. It's similar to Fortnite with the building aspect to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, you can use that offensively and defensively. So say, for example, I want to start off the match and I want to put a portal next to my home base, right? Where I know all my homies are going to spawn. So if I go out there and I'm getting shot at, I shoot the portal in front of me, I'm in my home base now, but they can follow you.
They can.
Right?
They can go right into your portal. So that's the thing about it. You can destroy your own portal if you want. You can throw a grenade in it and it blows up. And vice versa with the enemies. If you see an enemy portal, you can throw a grenade at it and it blows up and they don't use it anymore. I don't know if your portal stays there the whole entire time. Like if you just use one portal to navigate between maps and you don't use your portal technique again, like does it stay the entire time, or is there like
is there a technique,
timer?
or is there a distance? Like you have to be a certain distance away from it, or
I don't think so. The maps are they're very condensed. They're more arena based, so they're not that big per se. Again, think of Halo. Like it just has the map is very laid out like on top of each other. So there's like a first layer base, and then there's like pathways to get to the second layer, third layer, things like that. And the movement is great. Like movement is very fleshed out. I didn't really run into any issues while playing the game. Loading is kind of quick and snappy. The connection was great. Yeah. I had no issues with it.
Now,
go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say, does this game feel too much like Halo? Did it feel like almost like a copycat, or does it feel like its own thing?
It's hard to say. I mean, yeah, it does feel like Halo, 100%. There's no denying that. Even down to the character designs. Like you have a red and blue, right? Red and blue team.
And they're like in a Spartan looking.
And that's what one of my downfalls with the game. They seem uninspired. They don't look very creative in that way. Animations for these like Spartans, if you want to call them, there's like little to no animations to them. Like if you see like when you're waiting in the loadout to start up the game, they're just standing there, and I shot a couple videos if you guys want to check it out on the video side of it, and they just look uninspired. There's nothing to them. It just seems like they didn't put a lot of thought into the actual Spartans themselves. But besides that, like the gameplay wise, it does a phenomenal job. I think it does a great job. To answer your question though, is it too much like Halo? Yes and no. I think the portal aspect to it is obviously what differentiates it, and it kind of adds another layer to it, more so than what Halo does. I think this does give you a more advantage and more of a thought process, like you said, of like trying to outsmart the other competition, the other players,
Yeah, I think so too. I think that this game that's the number one downfall, right? Is it looks uninspired minus the gameplay part of it.
Yeah.
Right? If it didn't have that portal part of it, then it'd just be a Halo clone. It would literally just be a Halo clone.
Uh-huh.
So I guess my next question for you, Kelvin, the final question I have: how can this game maintain momentum? How do people keep playing it? And how does it get popular when it is such a copycat of that other game?
I think it just has to. They just have to support it. I think over time, it's gonna get its proper fan base. It might not obviously be as big as Halo, but it will get its dedicated fan base. And as long as they keep supporting it, that's something I didn't even touch on too. They also have like a battle pass if you want to try that out.
Of course they do.
Right.
Of course they have battle pass.
And they have like a cool little slot machine like reward system. So if you like, the more you play, the more you level up, and the more points you get, and these points you can convert to kind of like in the slot machine system that they have. So you throw your points in there or whatever, and then you kind of press the slot machine and you get like a random type of like reward.
Is it skins?
You get skins, you get weapon skins, you get weapons, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely fleshed out. Like they do have everything that would make this succeed, right? They have also they have like casual matchmaking. They have ranked. They have a ranked 4v4. So there's some like kind of like difference between that. But everything seems like they've thought pretty well throughout the whole thing, right? Like everything seems to be there. It's just I don't know how well this is gonna, like how long it's gonna last, or if it can even keep the momentum with a dedicated fan base, because it is hard to, especially nowadays with a like first person shooter, to just kind of keep going unless it has like a battle royale, or unless it has something that differentiates itself from the other FPS games.
Yeah, I think it's really cool for me to see this game being adopted, and a lot of people are playing it now because we played it at PAX East all those years ago,
and that stood out to us.
Oh. And I was like, this, like, I remember I was like, that was one of the cooler games that we played.
Yeah,
At the time, it was like a little tiny, like, indie game that, like a little developer that there's no line for. We're just like, all right, I think we played on laptops.
Yeah, we did.
They had like little laptops aside, and the guy just explained the rules to us. And it's really cool that
it's come a long way for sure, right?
Yeah. Did it feel like that same game when you?
Yes.
It felt okay.
Not much has changed from what I remember based off of what we played. Obviously, like I said, it does feel slightly more polished, and I did play it on my PC without keyboard and mouse. I did play it on my Xbox controller, so that was a little different there. But besides that, same game. Updated graphics maybe. There's some textures that look a little weird.
Yeah, but it's pre-release.
It's beta, so I'm not knocking it as much. But it seems like it has a good momentum going, and some people, from what it looks like, it has gained traction because Kyle mentioned this game to us, and my friend Birdman, he, aka Brian, he actually mentioned it to me too, and I'm like, oh, I heard of that game, I just don't remember what it was, and sure enough,
and that's why we're doing a segment. Basically, it's like, hey, you guys cover this game, so we do listen to you guys when you ask for something, Yeah,
for sure.
We really enjoy the feedback.
I'm excited for you to play it so we can play together, because I think it'd be
I was just going to ask you, I was like, should I download it? Should I download and play?
Oh yeah, it's free to play. Why not? You know what I mean?
Is it on Steam?
It's on Steam. It's on PS4. I think it's on consoles now, like we mentioned earlier. And I think if I'm not mistaken, they are trying to do a PS5 upgrade to it as well.
Of course they are.
Yeah, so they, everything looks good. They're doing good things to it. They're knocking it out of the park right now, and I think that as long as they keep upgrading it and just kind of keep with the different maps and adding new stuff to it, it's gonna do well.